When life crushes you under its weight, the first instinct is to cry out, to search for a shoulder, to unload your pain on someone else. But listen carefully, the world does not care about your problems, your struggles, your sleepless nights, your doubts and your scars. They may feel like storms inside you, but to others, they are nothing more than background noise. Understand this truth. When you tell people your problems, half don't care, and the other half are quietly glad it's you suffering instead of them. Life is not fair, and waiting for sympathy will trap you in weakness. You must rise above the urge to complain. Silence your cries, because strength is built in solitude. When you fall, stand up without asking for hands to lift you. When you bleed, cover your wounds and keep walking. Every battle you fight alone forges unshakable resilience, and that resilience is what commands respect. The world bows to results, not excuses. Your pain can either be your prison or your power. Stop announcing your suffering and start showing your victories. Let your silence scream louder than your words, because in the end, the strongest warrior is the one who fights without witnesses. Stop seeking sympathy. The world doesn't care. This is one of the hardest truths you will ever face in your life, yet it is also the most liberating. The idea that others will understand your pain, that they will feel what you feel, and that they will somehow carry your burden with you is nothing more than a comforting lie. The harsh reality is this: people are wrapped in their own lives, drowning in their own struggles, and fighting battles you cannot see. When you pour your pain onto them, most are not truly listening. They are just waiting for their turn to speak, or quietly relieved that your suffering isn't theirs. And if they do listen, the sympathy they give you is shallow, temporary, and does nothing to fix the storm raging inside you. Sympathy doesn't change your reality. Action does. When you depend on the pity of others, you chain yourself to weakness. You begin to crave comfort over growth, attention over progress, and validation over victory. This mindset eats away at your strength because it convinces you that your value lies in the hands of others. But the truth is, the world only respects results. People respect the man or woman who takes pain and turns it into power, who bleeds in silence and emerges stronger, who refuses to beg for understanding and instead uses every ounce of suffering as fuel. When you stop looking for sympathy, you stop wasting time explaining your problems and start investing that energy into solutions. You rise above the need to be pitied and begin to transform yourself into someone impossible to ignore. Think about it. Every person you admire, every story that inspires you, did not come from someone who sat around complaining, waiting for the world to feel sorry for them. It came from those who bore their hardships with grit, fought their demons alone, and showed the world their results instead of their excuses. Greatness doesn't shout about pain. Greatness proves it survived. You will never command respect if you keep telling the world how unfair life has been. Life is unfair to everyone. The difference is what you choose to do with that unfairness. You can either cry about it and beg for compassion, or you can harden yourself and use it as fuel to rise above. Stop seeking sympathy, because the moment you do, you reclaim your power. Sympathy is a dangerous drug. It feels good in the moment. Someone nodding, someone patting you on the back, someone telling you it's not your fault. But in reality, it makes you addicted to weakness. You get comfortable being the victim. You start to expect understanding, and when you don't get it, you spiral even deeper into self-pity. But when you cut yourself off from that drug, you force yourself to confront pain head on. And in that confrontation, you find your true strength. Every wound, every betrayal, every loss is not meant to be broadcasted for comfort. They are meant to forge you in silence. The nights you cry alone, the mornings you wake up with fire in your chest, the days you keep moving even though your body screams to quit. These are the moments that separate the strong from the weak. And when you endure them without seeking sympathy, you develop an aura of unshakable resilience. People may not know the details of your battles, but they will see the results. They will see the strength in your eyes, the discipline in your actions, the determination in your walk. That is the respect you want. Not pity, not shallow words of comfort, but the silent recognition that you are someone who cannot be broken. The truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to take away your pain, your fear, or your struggle. And the more you talk about your problems, the more powerless you feel. But the more you work through them alone, the more powerful you become. Your silence becomes your weapon. Your pain becomes your armor, and your resilience becomes your identity. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the master of it. So stop seeking sympathy. Stop begging for understanding. Stop waiting for the world to feel sorry for you. The world doesn't care, and that's exactly why you should care more for yourself. Care enough to fight for yourself. Care enough to build strength from your pain. Care enough to let your results speak louder than your struggles, because the day you stop seeking sympathy is the day you stop being weak. And the day you stop being weak is the day you finally start becoming unstoppable. Strength is built in silence, not in complaints. The moments that shape you the most are not the ones where you cry out to the world, begging for someone to hear your pain. They are the moments where you sit in the quiet, wrestling with your demons, grinding through the suffering, and refusing to let the weight of life crush you. Complaints are easy. Anyone can complain. Complaining doesn't take courage or discipline. It only takes weakness. But silence, that is where true growth is born. Because when you face your pain without announcing it, without expecting anyone to carry it for you, you learn what you are truly made of. Complaints are noise, but silence is power. When you complain, you give energy to the very thing you claim to hate. You repeat your pain, you reinforce your weakness, and you make your struggle larger than it is. But when you stay silent, you deny your problems the power to define you. You force yourself to channel every ounce of frustration, anger, and suffering into action. Silence teaches you discipline. Silence teaches you control. Silence forces you to endure, and endurance creates strength. Every time you choose silence over complaint, you are sharpening your mind, hardening your spirit, and preparing yourself for battles far greater than the one you face now. Look at the strongest people in history. Their greatness was not built on whining about their circumstances. It was built in the shadows, in the moments nobody saw, when they endured pain in private, when they fought battles inside their own minds, and when they refused to broadcast their suffering. Strength is not loud. It is forged quietly, piece by piece, through resilience. Those who complain want sympathy. Those who stay silent want victory. And life rewards the silent more than it ever rewards the complainers. Complaining may bring you temporary comfort, but it robs you of long-term growth. It weakens your spirit. It conditions you to seek attention instead of solutions, and it leaves you addicted to pity. But silence does the opposite. Silence builds mystery, it builds self-respect, and it builds toughness. When you suffer in silence, people don't see your weakness. They see only the results of your endurance. They don't see the nights you cried, the mornings you almost gave up, or the battles you fought within. They see only the strength you carry now, the resilience in your actions, and the power in your presence. That is why silence is the foundation of true strength. When you stay silent, you are not ignoring your pain. You are mastering it. You are proving to yourself that you don't need validation. You don't need applause, and you don't need anyone else to recognize your suffering. You are enough to carry it. And when you carry it alone, you discover a level of toughness that complaints will never give you. Strength is not about avoiding pain. It is about embracing it, walking through it, and coming out sharper than before. Every silent battle you fight adds a layer of armor to your spirit, and that armor is what allows you to face bigger challenges in the future. The world doesn't respect complainers. People may nod when you whine, they may offer shallow words of comfort, but deep down they lose respect for you. They see weakness, not strength. But when you suffer in silence, when you refuse to complain, when you channel your pain into relentless action, you command respect without asking for it. People admire the ones who endure without making noise, the ones who stand tall even when life tries to break them. That respect is worth infinitely more than the hollow sympathy complaints will ever bring. The truth is, life will always test you. Pain will come, loss will strike, and hardship will try to crush you. You cannot avoid it, and you cannot control it. But you can control how you respond. Complaints will only make you a victim. Silence will turn you into a warrior. Complaints feed weakness. Silence builds strength. Every time you choose silence, you are telling life, I will not break. I will not beg. I will endure. That choice, repeated over and over, is what transforms you into someone unshakable. Strength is built in silence, because silence forces you to grow. Silence forces you to dig deep, to rely on yourself, to harden your resolve. Silence strips away excuses and demands action. Complaints only keep you stuck in the same place. but silence pushes you forward whether you are ready or not. And the more you embrace it, the stronger you become. So stop wasting your breath on complaints. Stop feeding weakness with words. Instead, embrace the silence. Carry your pain with pride. Let your struggles forge you in private. Let your results be the only noise you make. Because in the end, the world doesn't care about the details of your suffering. It only respects the strength you built from it. And that strength, earned in silence, will always speak louder than any complaint ever could. Respect comes from resilience, not excuses. No one in this world looks at a person who explains why they failed, why they gave up, or why they couldn't push harder and feels inspired. Excuses might give you comfort in the moment, but they destroy your credibility. They may shield your ego temporarily, but they expose your weakness permanently. Respect is not earned by talking about how life was unfair, how people betrayed you, or how circumstances crushed you. Respect is earned when you endure, when you fight back despite the odds, and when you rise from situations that were designed to break you. People admire strength, not explanations. They admire perseverance, not reasons for quitting. Resilience is the ability to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to stop. It is waking up after failure, brushing the dust off, and trying again with even more fire than before. That is where respect is born, because most people quit. Most people fold under pressure. Most people give in to fear, to pain, to excuses. So when you refuse to join them, when you stand tall despite everything working against you, you stand out. Resilience is rare, and anything rare commands respect. Excuses, on the other hand, are common. Everyone has them. Everyone can list reasons why they didn't succeed, but very few can show results in spite of their obstacles. That is why respect and excuses can never live in the same place. When you make excuses, you are admitting defeat before the battle is even finished. You are telling the world that you value your comfort more than your character, that you would rather protect your pride than prove your strength. Excuses are the language of weakness. Resilience is the language of warriors. Resilience says, I don't care what stands in my way, I will find a way through. That mindset alone separates the respected from the forgotten. You cannot demand respect if you are full of excuses. Respect is something people give freely when they see you refuse to quit, when they see you endure without complaint, and when they witness your ability to keep going despite what you face. Life will always give you reasons to make excuses. You'll face loss, betrayal, financial struggles, physical pain, emotional breakdowns. Every human being experiences these trials. But the ones who rise above them, the ones who endure with resilience, are the ones who become legends in their own circles. You see, excuses only make your struggles heavier. They don't remove the burden, they add to it. But resilience lightens the load because it transforms suffering into strength. It turns pain into wisdom, setbacks into comebacks, and scars into stories worth telling. Respect follows those who use their hardships as fuel instead of chains. Think about the people you look up to. Do you admire them because they had an easy path? Do you respect them because they gave you a list of reasons for why they couldn't achieve something? Or do you admire them because they stood tall in the face of storms, because they refused to bow down to defeat, because they kept fighting when every excuse to quit was right in front of them? You respect them because of resilience, not excuses. That is the pattern of greatness. That is the formula for true recognition. Excuses are poison. They keep you stuck. They convince you that the world owes you something, but the truth is, the world owes you nothing. Respect must be earned, and it is earned through resilience. When you are resilient, you show the world that you cannot be broken, that you cannot be bent by the weight of adversity. You prove that no matter what happens, you will keep going. And that relentless attitude builds an aura around you. People may not understand your struggles, but they will admire your strength. They may not know the details of your pain, but they will respect the fire in your spirit. Resilience is not just about surviving, it is about thriving despite. It is about facing rejection and still knocking on the next door. It is about failing and still trying again. It is about walking through darkness and still believing the light will come. Excuses stop your progress, but resilience guarantees growth. Every time you endure, every time you rise, every time you refuse to let failure define you, you increase not only your strength, but also the respect you command from others. The truth is, people don't remember the ones who complained. They don't remember the ones who explained why they couldn't. They remember the ones who stood up when they shouldn't have been able to. They remember the ones who took blow after blow and still refused to stay down. They remember the resilient. Respect is a byproduct of resilience. It cannot be bought. It cannot be faked, and it cannot be gained through excuses. It is only earned through perseverance, through relentless effort, and through the refusal to quit. So stop making excuses. Stop explaining why you can't, why you won't, or why it's too hard. Every excuse weakens you. Every excuse steals your credibility, and every excuse destroys the respect you hope to earn. Instead, embrace resilience. Face the storm, carry the weight, and rise when everything tells you to stay down. Because at the end of the day, nobody respects excuses, but everyone respects resilience. And if you want to be remembered, admired, and truly respected, you must be unshakable, unbreakable, and relentlessly resilient. Pain should fuel power, not weakness. Every human being experiences pain. Emotional pain, physical pain, the pain of loss, failure, and betrayal. It is the one thing we all have in common. But the difference between those who rise and those who collapse is how that pain is used. Weak people allow pain to crush them. They let it become the excuse for why they quit, why they stopped trying, and why they settled for less than they were capable of. Strong people, however, take that same pain and use it as fire. They turn heartbreak into hunger, failure into motivation, and suffering into strength. Pain itself is neutral. It is what you decide to do with it that determines whether it becomes your downfall or your power. When pain comes, most people retreat. They sit in their misery, looking for sympathy, convincing themselves they are victims of an unfair world. But that mindset only deepens the wound, makes pain heavier, sharper, and more destructive. The truth is, pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you. Pain is a test, a teacher, and a forge. Just like steel must endure fire to become strong, your character must endure suffering to become unbreakable. Weakness is the default reaction, but power is the choice. And you only unlock that power when you decide that your pain will not be wasted. Think about the hardest moments of your life. The times you thought you couldn't keep going, the moments when your chest was heavy, your mind was screaming, and quitting seemed easier than pushing forward. Those moments, if you endured them, made you stronger. They carved resilience into your spirit. They gave you a toughness you could not have developed any other way. Pain introduces you to parts of yourself you didn't know existed. It forces you to dig deep, to fight harder, and to find strength hidden beneath your suffering. That strength is the foundation of power. If you allow pain to crush you, you never discover it. If you use pain as fuel, you unlock it and become unstoppable. Weakness whispers, "This hurts too much, give up." Power responds, "This hurts, but I'll grow from it." Weakness wants pity. Power wants results. Weakness surrenders. Power endures. The reason most people fail is not because they lacked opportunity, but because they let pain drain them instead of drive them. They let heartbreak convince them love isn't worth it. They let failure convince them success is impossible. They let betrayal convince them trust is weakness. But the ones who rise, the ones who command respect and admiration, are those who take heartbreak and build determination, who take failure and use it as a lesson, who take betrayal and build boundaries without losing faith. Pain is energy. That energy can either be destructive or constructive. If you let it consume you, it burns everything inside you and leaves nothing but ashes. But if you channel it, if you take every ounce of that energy and redirect it toward growth, it becomes the most powerful fuel you will ever have. Nothing drives a person like pain does, because pain makes things personal. Pain makes you hungry. Pain gives you a reason to fight, to build, to prove, to overcome. That is why the strongest individuals in history have always come from suffering. Their pain pushed them beyond the limits of comfort and forced them to find greatness. The truth is, comfort never builds power. Easy paths never create warriors. Only pain can shape true strength. But the choice is always yours. Will this pain break me, or will it build me? Every time you choose power over weakness, you create a new version of yourself, one that is tougher, sharper, and more resilient than before. Every scar becomes a reminder not of how you suffered, but of how you survived. Every failure becomes proof that you refuse to quit. Every betrayal becomes a lesson that strengthens your resolve. Stop letting pain make you weak. Stop allowing it to turn you into a victim. Victims get sympathy, but they never get respect. Power is born when you look pain in the eye and say, "You will not defeat me. You will make me stronger." That mindset transforms suffering into strength, obstacles into opportunities, and wounds into wisdom. You cannot avoid pain, but you can master it. And when you master pain, you master yourself. So let pain fuel your power. Let it push you harder when you feel like slowing down. Let it remind you of your purpose when you feel lost. Let it sharpen your focus when the world tries to distract you. Use pain as your weapon, your fuel, and your drive. Because if you let it weaken you, you will remain broken. But if you let it fuel you, nothing in this world will ever be able to break you again. Pain will either be the chain that binds you or the fire that forges you. The decision is yours. Choose power. Let your results speak louder than your problems. Nobody cares about the weight you carry, the nights you can't sleep, or the pain you quietly endure. The world listens to outcomes, not excuses. You could sit for hours telling people how hard your life is, how unfair circumstances have been, and how many times life has struck you down. But at the end of the day, they will still measure you by what you achieved, not what you suffered. Problems are universal. Everyone has them. Results, however, are rare, and that is why they command respect. The person who wins despite the obstacles, despite the pain, despite the odds stacked against them. This is the person who earns recognition. Words about your struggles may touch hearts for a moment, but results inspire for a lifetime. When you focus on your problems, you invite weakness. You give energy to the very things trying to hold you down. Problems grow louder when you feed them with attention, but they grow smaller when you silence them with action. Complaining about your hardships doesn't solve them. Working relentlessly does. Every minute you spend talking about how bad things are is a minute you could have spent building, fixing, or pushing forward. Excuses never built empires. Complaints never created legends. It is the relentless pursuit of results, even in the darkest hours, that sets apart the strong from the weak. Results are undeniable. You can't argue with success. You can't ignore achievements. People may doubt your story. They may belittle your pain. They may dismiss your words, but they cannot dismiss results. When you show them what you've built, when you display the strength you've developed, when you stand victorious despite the storms you've faced, their doubt dies in silence. Results kill excuses. Results silence critics. Results speak a language that no one can deny. That's why the most powerful people on this earth let their actions roar louder than their voices ever could. Think about it. Who do you admire more? The person who constantly complains about how hard life is, or the one who silently works, fights through pain, and shows up with victories? You admire the one who delivers. Because deep down, everyone knows problems are common, but results are rare. The truth is, life will never stop throwing challenges at you. Problems are part of the human condition, but if you waste your energy narrating them, you remain stuck. If you redirect that energy into action, you move forward, you grow, you evolve, and eventually you conquer. Every scar you carry, every tear you've shed, every hardship you've faced can either become your excuse or your motivation. If you let them be excuses, you will forever be defined by what hurt you. But if you use them as fuel, they will be the very foundation of your success. Imagine how much respect you earn when people see your results without ever knowing the depth of your suffering. Imagine the power of shocking the world by succeeding where you were expected to fail. That power comes only when you stop broadcasting problems and start producing results. The greatest people in history weren't defined by their complaints. They were defined by what they achieved despite their hardships. Their results became proof of their resilience, their discipline, and their strength. Nobody remembers the excuses of the weak, but everyone remembers the triumphs of the strong. Excuses fade, but results echo forever. When you let your results speak louder than your problems, you write a story that no one can erase. Results also build respect. People respect effort, but they admire outcomes. They may feel pity when you talk about your struggles, but pity is not the same as respect. Pity lowers you in their eyes, while results elevate you. When you produce results, people stop seeing you as a victim and start seeing you as a leader. They see someone who refused to let life win, someone who transformed hardship into power. That is the kind of recognition worth chasing. The recognition earned by achievement, not by sympathy. Letting your results speak louder doesn't mean you deny your pain or ignore your struggles. It means you don't let them define you. You acknowledge the weight, but you carry it anyway. You accept the storm, but you keep walking through it. And when you emerge on the other side, you don't need to explain yourself. Your survival, your growth, your victory, it speaks for you. It shouts louder than words ever could. So stop broadcasting your problems. Stop wasting your voice on complaints. Use that energy to build. Use it to push harder, to fight longer, to endure deeper. Let your results do the talking. Let your success silence your critics. Let your victories be the answer to every doubt, every insult, every barrier you face, because in the end, no one truly cares about the problems you had, but everyone will remember the results you achieved in spite of them. And when your results echo, your problems will be forgotten, but your strength will live forever. In the end, life will never stop testing you. Problems, pain, and hardship are inevitable, but how you respond to them will define everything about who you are and what legacy you leave behind. You can choose to be the person who wastes energy seeking sympathy, shouting excuses, and complaining about how unfair the world is, or you can choose to be the person who embraces the storm in silence, turns pain into fuel, and lets results speak louder than words. Respect does not come from pity, it comes from resilience. Strength is not built by complaining, it is forged in the quiet battles no one sees. Power does not come from avoiding pain, it comes from using that pain to grow. And victory is never awarded to the ones who explain why they couldn't. It is awarded to the ones who endured until they did. So stand tall. Stop searching for shoulders to cry on and start building the strength to carry yourself. Use your scars as reminders, not excuses. Let your silence sharpen you. Let your resilience define you. And above all, let your results scream so loudly that the world can't ignore you, no matter how deep your struggles once were.